This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and for this video I'm going to be going over every clone of Jango Fett that was able to overcome or remove their inhibitor chips that was still alive during Order 66, because technically any clone that died would not be able to execute Order 66, and I only want to count the people that were there to be able to execute Order 66. And if they did do it, I will also count it if they were able to either overcome or remove their inhibitor chip, which may be the case for a few people on here, but not that many. So let's go into the list. First, we have Rex, and Rex was originally executing Order 66, but did not succeed in it, and had his inhibitor chip removed by Ahsoka Tano in Season 7 of the Clone Wars. It is contradicted in the Ahsoka book, where he had it out the entire time, but I'm guessing the Clone Wars show is canon over that, so we're just going to go in with that one. Up next, we have the Bad Batch, and I will be mentioning Crosshair, but we do know that he does turn on them after his inhibitor chip signal is amplified, but initially he did not do it. Although he did try, he was stabbed and talked down by Hunter. So the modifications to these clones made the inhibitor chips not work, and this applies to Hunter, Wrecker, and Tech. But Echo, the last member of the Bad Batch, actually had his brain worked on, and the rest of him, which led to his inhibitor chip either being destroyed or malfunctioning, so it didn't work anymore. Up next, we have Wolf, who may have executed Order 66, may have not, but he did have it removed, and eventually went to live with Rex and Gregor, who probably had his inhibitor chip destroyed in explosions, and probably had it removed for safekeeping just in case. But this guy kind of lost his mind after nearly dying twice, which is pretty interesting, and is one of the best ones. Up next we have Kix, who was the 501st medic, and Kix was obviously able to assist the 501st with any medical proceedings, and met Fives, who did remove his inhibitor chip, but I'm not really counting for this list since he did die, and I'm really counting the ones around Order 66, but we'll consider Fives an honorable mention. And Kix was able to figure out what was going on, but Count Dooku figured it out, had him captured, and was to have him sent in to him, but the ship he was in was ambushed by Republic forces. He was put in a cryo chamber. The ship jumped to light speed to a random point. It crashed, and decades later, before The Force Awakens, which should be about 50-ish years, I'm guessing. That's just a quick number off the top of my head. So 50 years later, he was found by the Crimson Corsair, who was the guy that had been talked with in The Force Awakens. And that's actually pretty interesting that he was able to make it that long, and is guaranteed to be the last living clone trooper, as they did not find a way to fix the accelerated aging. Captain Gray, or Commander, depending on if you still think that the canon comic is fully canon. Perhaps he promotes himself after Caleb Doom escapes. So, with him, he does get hit in the head and is able to overcome the inhibitor chip, and with that he is able to let Caleb escape and become Kanan Jarrus in the future. And it's going to be the comic, that's just what I heard. And now we're going into a few that are special exceptions, but are still technically clones, but they were not at the moment of Order 66. Serving in the Grand Army of the Republic. First is any clone that was in training before Order 66, because in one of the Vader comics, it is shown that they did not execute Order 66 yet because a Jedi is able to use a mind trick on them to commit Order 66 on the Inquisitors they're with, and they managed to kill at least one of them. Although those clones are removed from the ranking of this, any other clones, including most likely the cadets, which we saw a few of in the Bad Batch premiere, and ones that were close to going into service, did not have the signal go to them because they were not in active service yet. So that's one exception, but the rest of these have almost no affiliation or a very vague affiliation with the Grand Army of the Republic that are either turned away or were never given the option to be able to join. So we have Quain, Boba Fett, and Omega here, who are all Jango Fett clones. At least maybe Omega maybe isn't, because they did just say that she is a clone, but we could assume that she is a Jango Fett clone that was mutated. And the reason that Omega didn't do it because she was a Kaminoan staff, so she likely either didn't have an inhibitor chip in her head, she didn't know about them, but was not the one to have likely had one put in her head. But I do have a theory that she's kind of the central inhibitor chip for all the clones, sending up a signal that mainly is going through her to help them execute the order, which I had in a video previously. But also there's some other things I want to talk about. So the Queen was a clone who deserted the army and got married and adopted 2 kids. I'm not really sure if they were the biological kids of his wife Sue. I'm pretty sure they are, but I can't remember if they ever confirmed that. And finally, we have Boba Fett, and the main reason he didn't execute Order 66 is because he was part of the deal made with the Kaminoans. He is an unaltered clone who would not have anything altered, so he wouldn't have an inhibitor chip and aged normally. So that's really the reason for him. Boba Fett is a pretty interesting character, and is the only one that really on here was the only one was intended, with the exception of possibly Omega, to not execute Order 66. Although he did kill Jedi and hunt them down, but that was under Order 66, so that means he didn't do it. I am pretty sure that I got every clone that is within canon. I do know that there are some in Legends that did not execute Order 66, but also there was no inhibitor chips in Legends until the Clone Wars series came out, and they weren't really mentioned. So these clones were mainly ones that were out of communication. There was one, I believe, that crashed onto Yavin that met Luke Skywalker, but I'm not really going to count to them. And now I want to quickly go into my plan for next week, because I don't want to be putting that on my Bad Batch review. I just had to put on this one. So next week I am not going to be creating any videos. I'm only going to be putting out some scheduled videos, which I believe I have confirmed now. I might change my mind a little, but here are the plans I have. I am going to release one trying to figure out exactly how long Padme was pregnant for, and if it's realistic for her to be able to have birth of her kids, or if it's one of those movie things where you just have to go along with it, even though it shouldn't make any logical sense. And really, I'm going to also be doing a video comparing, which will be the first in the series actually, when I'm going to be comparing characters. I'll be comparing Billy Butcher from The Boys and Baron Helmut Zemo from the MCU, and I'll be using The Boys TV show mainly because I don't really want to go into the comics because I am about halfway into them and don't want to try to rush myself to finish 2.5 volumes of the comic, or actually I think it's 3.5. I'm on I'm on volume 3. Yeah, I have to go through 4, 5, and 6, and I'm like a little halfway over volume 3, so yeah, I'm not going to really be going over that, but I'm either going to do that in 1 or 2 parts. I'm not sure if I want to put a versus part into it, as well as make a comparison, which one I want the first video to be, but I might do a part 2 where I'll just put them in a very basic battle, but I'm not really sure about that. If I don't do it, I'm going to talk about a show that I think should likely replace Batwoman if they want to keep her in, because according to what Batwoman's viewership is, it's not doing very well, and it definitely is going to be cancelled soon because it is at, I believe, like 300,000 viewers around, and that's crazy when it had nearly 2 million when it started. That's just such an extreme drop. I believe it's around like 15 to 90% of its original viewership, and that's really not good for season 2 of a show that's only been on to season 2. So I don't know if it's going to last that much longer, but I do have an interesting idea. So I'm releasing either one of those videos. If you do have a suggestion, please put it down in the comments below. Would you rather see a video comparing Billy Butcher and Zemo? Well, I'm going to be doing that definitely, but would you rather see Butcher versus Zemo? And, well, for them at least, a fight to the death? Or would you rather see the show? I think that should maybe replace Batwoman if it is cancelled. But there is one thing I just want to mention, that with the versus series, I do have a few more planned, mainly involving around those 2 characters and a few others. I am thinking about doing both comparisons of Zemo and Batman, Batman and Thrawn, Injustice Superman, and Batman Who Laughs, and I'm not really sure who else, but those are just my ideas so far, and what do you think? And if you have any suggestions for that series, put them in the comments below. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please like the video, leave some comments, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends, and may the Force be with you.